Hey, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the Audio Quest. We got Novice Nick there, full face. And our special guest is Paul from the channel BarakaPDub. Thanks, Paul, for joining.
It's my pleasure. I think you're kind of on a downhill slide when you when I'm a guest. I mean, you started with Gary Salstrom, and then you went to Sun, and now you go to me. And I don't consider myself someone on their level, their par. So
well, you're of interest. I think you're one of those guys of interest in the VC. So
Okay. Yes,
we'll wait some people come up.
Yeah. I found particular interest in the fact that you are everywhere. So much grabs your interest that you don't specialize in just one thing, and that's interesting to me because that's similar to me.
Yeah, so, well, I'm glad we share that.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's what makes it interesting, I think.
Yes.
So Paul, how long have you been doing YouTube stuff?
So I will say I was fortunate enough to start watching the VC right near its inception, when it was only 8, 9 people, and I was a commenter for 5 or 6 years, and my path to getting there was an interesting one, because there was a Canadian gentleman that went by the handle Dr. Deadwax, and Dr. Deadwax was one of the first channels that I watched that was actually talking about Deadwax inscriptions, and he and I were trading messages multiple times, and I was getting into the vinyl records in 2010, and I happened to get some extra pressings of some Music Matter records, and I sent it to him. He was so impressed by those. He kind of urged me. He's like, dude, you comment on my videos all the time. Why don't you just go out and make a video? And so in 2015, I responded to a sealed to revealed thread, and that is what got me into it. So I've been doing it for 10 years now.
Wow. That's quite a lot, quite a long while, long before most of us.
Yeah, I would say it's been interesting watching the vinyl community evolve. And of course, YouTube has also changed the platform. At the very beginning, it was very fascinating because YouTube allowed video responses, and it was fascinating to watch threads because one person would just ask a generic question and then people would respond in a series of videos. And so for me, that was the entertainment of the day. I would watch one of these threads, and then you would watch the dozen or video responses to that particular thread.
Yeah.
Wow, video responses. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah,
really?
I would say with COVID and everybody being locked in their room and everybody ordering vinyl, and you were running out of streaming content to watch, I would say the vinyl community, I just saw an explosion of people jumping on to the medium, which it's had its good and its bad. And unfortunately, I think there are some folks that just bring too much drama into it. But for me, I think it's just a wonderful platform for talking with other vinyl and music enthusiasts.
Hang on a second. I'm trying to figure out why it shows I'm not live.
I'm watching you live. It's funny you should say I didn't partake in that shutdown. Being an independent business owner, if I didn't pay the bills, I was done. So we continued to open and all of that. So I didn't really, in a way, I don't understand the shutdown because I didn't participate in it. I was, it was one of those things where I keep hearing about it and all the symptoms and everything that most people are doing, but I wasn't a participant in the non-participation of life. I mean, right?
Given your business, you had no choice but to do what you did.
Right. Yeah. And here we are. Next month will be 40 years. So,
Wow.
anyways.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. I didn't mean to cut you short. I just wanted to add that a different perspective that, most people that are viewing have gone through that where, I came along and didn't do it out of desperation for something to do. I came along into the VC to participate in one of the passions I enjoy. But this is about you, so keep it rolling.
I don't want it to just be about me. So, but so before we went live here, I would like to hear your guys' respective audiophile origin story, because not everybody buys into audiophile pressings or spending over $100 on a boutique piece of vinyl. I understand that. I don't think it's a hobby for everyone. I will say for me, number one, the music is my first priority. I mean, I will take, if there's only one way to get a piece of music, then I will go with that piece. But if I have an option to get a better sounding record out there, I'm definitely going to try and get that. Not always. I mean, sometimes you got expenses to think about, but I will say that in 2010, when I started to get into vinyl, of course, everybody had heard about the infamous Led Zeppelin II Robert Ludwig pressing. And so that was one of the things that really got me into it. But the other thing that really got me into it was my local record store had a set of $70,000 speakers and a all tube amp system, and I heard, I think it was Rubber Soul being played through that system, and I had never heard Rubber Soul sound like that before. I mean, sitting in the sweet spot and hearing the Beatles in stereo on a good vinyl pressing, I mean, I felt like I was in the studio with the band, and that was an experience that I had always wanted to go after. I mean, before that, I'd always been a CD collector. I gotten into super audio CDs. I was a little bit skeptical about vinyl in general, but after hearing that system, which I will never be able to afford personally, just hearing that having that experience is what really opened my mind to trying to get the best possible pressing of a particular album. So that's my background and why I'm an audiophile. But I'm curious about you, Nick, and you, Dave. What was your gateway into the audiophile world?
Go ahead, Nick. I'll let you go next.
Well, I had older brother and sister, and I grew up listening to music a generation before me, 4 years. So always enjoyed music. Wasn't always chasing this band or that band, but I knew what I like, and I'd listen to what was happening, listen to what they're playing. My brother and sister played piano and organ. So I followed their music and then got my first record player. There's, outside of FM radio, my first step back in the early 70s, late 69, was a turntable, and I started dropping the needle then. Of course, I didn't know what real sound sounded like. It was a couple of small speakers and my turntables and, a couple of records, Cat Stevens, that were mine with my own money. And outstanding. Then slowly over time, you start digging the gear, more music, more musicians, more gear. I enjoyed sound. The different types of sound is really neat to hear things come in on top of each other or pan from one side to another. And then I got into home theater as well because sound. And back then, there was no quad. It was still stereo. There was quad albums, but so I had a couple of speakers in the front, a couple in the back. Then over time, they started doing center channels, and ended up with how many speakers can I get into this room? and at one point it was, my Yamaha at the time was 11.2. And then I started daisy chaining subs because action movies require pounding. I can remember one time my father comes into the room and he's leaning on the wall. No, he's standing there. I said, Dad, lean on the wall. And I'm playing subsonic bass you can't hear. And he leans against the wall and he jumped about 3 feet. What's that? I said, yeah, that's what subs are supposed to do. But then over time, just started collecting more music. And Buddy he was selling gear. I bought my Riga turntable and it started growing. Theater, ended up with tubes. I was just telling David earlier today, he's looking at doing something, and I was like, well, I got my eye on a DAC. Yes, I want to consume music like you any way I can get it. If it's not on vinyl or I just don't think it's a value to purchase it, well, we can stream it, because streaming is okay. I still have all my CDs from the 70s when I was a kid. And, I'll play that on the Oppo on occasion. Super audio discs like you, Paul, and just any way I can consume music is my joy. I don't know all the artists, and I know people that can name the artist, the year, the date, the label, all that, and I respect that, and that's amazing that you can remember that stuff. It means a lot to you, but some people just have a better capability of doing that than others. Me, I know what I like, and it's a wide variety. I'm not really stuck in one spot. I'll listen to almost anything. There's a couple of genres that no, and a couple others that are like, if it's playing, but I'm not going to play it. A regular diet of it. So then met David through another channel, and we've been doing a lot with audio and music, and exposing each other to different types of music and genres. So it's been a great trip. I'm hoping to do this until our trip here is done. But as long as we can enjoy our passions, that's one of the things to live for. So that's my journey pretty much. How about you, David?
Well, I'm going to reference Nick Pantazzi. Thanks for joining. He said no need to spend ridiculous dollars for good sound. Just got to be smart about it. And I think that, for me, I'm more of a midstream person, I guess. I started collecting records when I was very young, in 1963, actually. Ricky Nelson was the first record I bought, single he had for you on Decca. And then in the late 60s, early 70s, a guy moved next door. He was married. I think they had one kid at the time. He was in his 20s. And he built equipment. And so he knew he could hear me listening to music in my basement. And so we got together and got to be friends. And he taught me how to build Dynaco amps and Heath kits back in the day. And so I was really into that. And I got a dual 1219 turntable back then, and a nice Dynaco amp and preamp, and some Advent speakers, and an Advent 201 cassette deck that I still have. And that was he really seeded me into that. But even then, those weren't the most expensive things out there. I think there's a diminishing returns as you get tighter and tighter up and you get to more and more dollars. I think there's a core and there's a little bit, and then it's like Dallas Cowboys trying to get into the end zone. It just isn't going to happen,
No, I agree with that.
Yeah. And it's cool, and it's cool to see what they do. I mean, I heard some electrostatic speakers earlier this year at the Southwest Audio Fest here in Dallas that were the first electrostats that didn't require separate power.
Oh, wow.
And they sound
Really?
amazing.
Yeah.
They sounded amazing. Yeah. Yeah. And Dynaco still sounds great. There's a guy here in the Dallas area that actually makes a clone Dynaco units now. He builds them with tubes. So, so that's really where I got seated. But the big thing for me is that you can buy, and especially vintage equipment, you can buy some great vintage equipment. Like my speakers are Polk Audios, my amplifications, NAD from the 80s. Uh, so, I believe you can get a lot out of those still because they were built so well. So that's where, I came down, and I've never gotten into the ultra expensive end of it just to enjoy it. But in 79, I moved to Houston area from Denver. And I started to go to a high end audio shop there. And the guy was named Dennis. I can't remember his last name, but he really turned me on to audiophile pressings, mobile fidelity. So I bought a lot of the mobile fidelities when they first came out. I still have stickers on them, $16.95 for the regular albums, $49.95 for UHQRs. Nautilus, the various brands at that time. Even Wyndham Hill was putting out some pretty high end audio LPs at the time. So I kind of followed into those kind of stores and followed where they sold audiophile pressings. Before you know it, Sound Warehouse was selling CBS half speed masters,
Yeah.
So, I've always kind of had my interest in that area just to see, can things sound better? But what is amazing to me is now today, looking back, there are so many original pressings that sound so much better than I remember. And that's really a great testament to the work that was done back in the high production volume days of the vinyl business, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that because my experience is everyone's mastering chain is different, and it will add its own unique sonic signature to the lacquer cut.
Yeah. No, that's very true. And those differences aren't subtle.
No.
They're very, it's like people sometimes, somebody could master it and somebody else could cut it.
Yep.
And you could take a decent mastering job and blow it by not cutting it well, or vice versa. So you really got to look at the whole chain really to know what you've got.
Yep.
But there are more and more times where, the OGs are very much well in contention. Sometimes they're louder and noise wise because of the vinyl at the time, or playing them a lot. So they have that disadvantage, but the sonics are often very much there.
Right.
Very much there.
Yep.
So that's our journey. You had a journey. You do a lot of different types of videos, Paul. They're very, you did a panel on 12-inch singles and vinyl EPs, and then, you'll do one with a review, and you've done ERCs. I wanted to ask you about your ERC experience because you're one of the few people that has done a fair amount of those reviews. Yeah, ERC, if you don't know, is what, Electric Recording Company? Is that their name? Yep. And those are, how many they make of those? 300, 500?
Yeah, so it varies. I think this one was maybe 350 or 400.
And they cost about what, 500?
I will tell you, this is probably the last one I will ever purchase. So when
name it if you can, for those who can't see it.
It is the Doors, the original Doors in mono.
Okay.
Nice.
So for those that are not familiar with my channel, so one of your previous viewers made a comment about, you just need to be smart about it. And that gentleman was absolutely right. So these are a premium product.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I bought several. I got to give, I can't remember the guy that does this. I got to give him kudos for the amount of effort that he puts into it. He has a all tube mastering system, but I will tell you, these are not to my liking. In fact, I don't think they're worth the cost. I mean, spending $500 is ridiculous, and a lot of people say, "Well, why would you even do that?" Sometimes it's a piece of art for some people. Michael, 45 RPM, gets these. He loves them to death. I just do not. This was the last one I ever purchased. I did a video where I give you sound samples, and I give you various comparisons where I allow you, the viewer, to decide, hey, is it worth the money? The interesting thing is this was also done by Vinyl Me Please. This is the Bernie Grunman did the mono cut for Vinyl Me Please, and it's funny. I got started on a video because Norman Maslov actually did this, but Mazzy is monetized, so he's not going to give you sound samples. I am not monetized. I don't care if I can get away with a sound sample. I'd rather you, the viewer, make your own decision on hey, is this even worth my time and effort? And I will tell you that a lot of people just did not. That listening to these, very few people liked the ERCs. He does put a lot into the packaging. I mean, these are tip-on jackets. He goes even to reproducing the original liner. But to me, it's not worth it.
What, if I could ask, what characteristics would you say the ERCs have that make that kind of don't work for you? Let's put it
that's actually a very good question. I would say they just seem a little bit veiled in the mid range, and I think a lot of it relates to the mastering chain. The other thing is that, hey, you're dealing with a guy that may cut one record like once a month or once every 2 months. I mean,
every other month. Yeah, more like it.
Experience as a Bernie Grunman, who is cutting at least one record a day. Kevin Gray, I know, cuts a record a day for sure.
Yeah.
But this guy is like cutting maybe once every 2 months, once every month. And there's something to be said about your experience and also your chain.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a fair point. I mean, I happen to have, and Nick, I brought this to your place. This is I found an OG of this, a Monarch mono, for $65 in Asheville, North Carolina, and this thing is dead quiet, no nothing on it. It's unbelievable. And I just can't believe anything would beat it, to be honest with you.
I literally asked 3 times, really, because there was no background.
Yeah.
And I got to say, in 67, really, stereo was prevalent. And when I listen to the Doors, my go-to is it's either the AP copy or an original.
Yeah. Same here. I love the Doors. That's one of my tops.
Yeah. One thing it seemed to me, it's funny you mentioned it only because Elektra Records and the bands they had on Bread and the Doors are two that I remember. They had such distinct stereo imaging in their engineering, very distinct compared to almost any other label, it seemed like. I just noticed that, and the Doors were very distinct. And I grew up listening to it, that way as well, no doubt about it. But it does put my brain back in transistor radio mode when I hear it in mono.
And I gotta say, there are some things that I grew up listening to on AM radio, and that AM radio had a distinct mono sound that I just enjoy.
Yeah. There's no doubt. It's just and the mixes, like Sgt. Pepper's, it's mixed differently, the stereo and the mono, very much. It sounds, some of the songs just literally sound different in some ways. So that's just part of the magic of what was going on at the time, with the transition. Right. So basically you said the mids, that's an interesting perspective, only because most times when people talk about pressings and differences, they usually talk about the bottom end or the top end.
Yeah.
So it's interesting you say them kids.
And I recommend folks go listen to the sound samples. In fact, one of the most disappointing one was a Beethoven violin concerto that I purchased, and I did a comparison with an earlier audiophile pressing that you could grab for like $20, and the $20 version just outshined the ERC. In fact, the ERC, you could tell that the tape was not, in a certain section, was not playing at the right speed, but that got cut into the lacquer, and you can hear that in the sound sample that I put out on YouTube.
Yeah, there are so many nuances with tape and alignment and azimuth and all those kind of things that you really have to have a tape connoisseur like Bernie, like Kevin, like Brian Smith, who really know tape. And that's something they acquire over the years.
Needs to be your day job. I mean, to be blunt about it.
I know that there are people that are totally after original pressings, and a lot of original pressings sound great. I mean, you had Bernie and Kevin cutting back in the 70s, and it's like, so one of the things that I will show, because this has been a topic of debate, and I get it, but this guy. So this is because sound matters one step, and you'll find that people either like it or hate it. Is it worth the money? I personally don't think so. I think if you get a good OG press, or you get the Kevin Gray did a cut of this, it is good. I mean, it's not to say this sounds bad. And one of the things that I did highlight in my 12-inch video was, Prince was great, because Prince put out 12-inch singles of a lot of the songs, and like Purple Rain ends the album, and it goes into almost to the run out groove. It's just if you get the 45 RPM single of the Purple Rain, it sounds vastly superior to any other version.
I have that. You're right.
This is one of the reasons why I like 12-inch singles is, sometimes the sound is just incredible. And not only that, you can get a different mix of the song completely.
Yeah. Well, there's just so much room on that lacquer to cut. I mean, no crosstalk between group. I mean, you're going to have everything clean as it can be.
Right.
And I love
it's a nice luxury.
No, it is a nice.
That's a case.
So there was controversy on that one, and as I remember, I think Michael Fremer really loved it, and Melinda, I think, didn't find it to be as appealing as what she had hoped.
But it gets back to what we find, David. I mean, some of the differences are in the margins. I mean, it might be a very subtle difference. I personally thought it sounded reasonable, but I would not have spent $100 on it. And I recommend that folks find an OG pressing personally and go for a cheaper option. I mean, some people thought it sounded great, but I will tell you the differences are subtle. It's minor.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you had to keep one, which one would you keep?
So personally, I would probably. It's hard for me between the Kevin Gray and an OG, but I'd probably stick with my OG copy. That's a case where I like the OG.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean that's where I'm at now in my collecting is I'm looking to shed some, so I'm looking at things that I have duplicates of and saying, okay, which one do I really want to keep?
Yeah. No, I am at a state in my collection where real estate is at a premium, so I can't keep doing what I'm doing. And one of the examples I want to show you is like, oh my God, she's gotten around. So here we go. We got Vinyl Me Please that Ryan K. Smith cut this one from the original master tapes. It's AAA. And then you had Kevin Gray that did this.
Yeah.
And then MoFi.
As if there weren't enough of them.
Yeah, that's like people look at me. Why? That's dumb. Why would you buy 3 copies of that record? I'm sorry. I live a sad life.
three, three, three different flavors of chocolate.
Yeah, exactly. But
I
they're
mean,
all a little minutely different.
right, exactly. They're different chocolates.
Yeah, but this is one of my rants. I mean, I wish there was a little more diversity. So you had I love the Rhino hi-fis. I will profess I love Kevin Gray's mastering. I know that not everybody likes Kevin Gray, but I do like his chain. And so this came out and like almost immediately afterwards,
Yep.
Mobile Fidelity announced theirs. I'm like, why? But I was dumb and I bought both.
But you haven't listened to the MoFi yet.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the decisions that these companies, I don't know if they're not telling some of the labels, but even internally to them, it's like, okay, I only have 2 Christmas records in my entire collection. I bought this guy, and I mean, I just wanted a good, clean copy. But you know, they did a definitive sound series version of it from Capitol. I mean, why? I mean, this is where a case where I think MoFi jumped the shark. I mean, I'd rather have my teeth drilled than listen to Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas."
Oh,
But
yeah.
MoFi did a double dip in stupidity. They did the one step of it, and then they did the Premium 33, and I'm like, why? I mean, for me, this was enough. I just don't see someone listening to a $100 copy of this. I mean, do you put your Christmas tree in with your $100,000 system? I mean, I enjoy Christmas.
How does it sound?
Christmas. Oh, it's great. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's Nat King
That's
Cole.
A great album.
It is. And I mean, I didn't want to track down an original pressing. I probably could have. And you could probably find this for $10 and it's great. That probably would have got me over, but I like Nat King Cole. I like, you know, what AP did with him, but I'm sorry. I had to draw the line at the $100 copy.
But why?
I mean, I'm an audiophile, but not to that degree. I mean,
look around the room. There's a few guilty of spending that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, for me being a channel that does shootouts, there's sometimes an expectation that I'm going to get all those, right?
Oh, no.
And I'm not, because I buy them and I can't honestly afford to do that.
It's expensive, and I gotta, not only the real estate, it is just getting more and more expensive. And I mean, it's like the ERCs. It's like I cannot justify spending that kind of money on a record anymore, really.
Yeah. And then when they're duplicative like that, I didn't know. Did you get the MoFi Dreamboat Annie?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Did you play it?
Yes, I did, and my copy sounded all right. Okay. But I prefer the Kevin Gray. Well, the OG
Friday music,
fantastic, but the Kevin Gray Friday music cut is really, really good.
Yeah, that's what I've been told, and as soon as I find mine, I'm gonna compare them. But it isn't mine, actually. I was loaned it, and I still can't find it.
Yeah,
so.
I would be curious to see what you think overall. I got to say that my experience with Mobile Fidelity is a little bit on the decline. It's not to say that they don't put out a good product. They do. But in terms of sound quality and their mastering chain, I did a series on Cannonball Adderley's Something Else. I had 8 different pressings of that album. I had 2 versions of a Bernie Grundman cut. I had 2 versions of a Kevin Gray cut, 33 and 45 RPM. MoFi. I talked to Joe Harley. Joe Harley said that this was going to be a one-off. They are not going to let MoFi do any more Blue Notes. I had a Japanese press. I had 2 OG pressings, and ultimately nobody liked the mobile fidelity, and that was cut at 45 RPM. And honestly, it's subtle. It's not to say that their pressings aren't great, but I mean, if I have an alternative, I might go with a Rhino Hi-Fi, or really give an OG a good listen.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, let me separate one title, and not title, but one perspective, and that is the pressings coming out of Fidelity are unbelievably great.
Yeah.
The mastering is where I think the problems exist. And I found, and maybe I had the only copy in the world, but I found side 1 of Dreamboat Annie, which are the core songs of the album,
yeah,
to be very lackluster compared to the original.
Yeah.
Now, the rest of the album wasn't as much of a gap, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm glad you cued me into the Tango in the Night.
Yep.
The problem with that, and there was something wrong with their QC too. So I've had problems with they've recognized they've had problems with the SACDs. And I've had 3 now where they've had to reissue the disc because people have found problems.
Wow.
But to give them credit, they notified all the customer base, hey, you bought this and we screwed up. And that's like, I'm surprised they did that, but I do have my frustrations with that company and some of the choices they're making. I do got to give them a little bit of kudos for thinking outside of the box. I am happy. They're doing things like Harry Chapin. That title was a bit of a surprise.
Good though. Good surprise.
Yeah, I'm glad they went with the James Brown. I thought that was good. The Parliament. I'm glad they're broadening out a little bit.
They definitely are.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
Which makes it a shame if the mastering is not superior.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about it. So interesting.
It makes me wonder, are they going to be confined to doing a lot of 45 RPM stuff? Because, a lot of these labels like Capitol, they're Capitol and Rhino. I mean,
they're taking the 33.
They're getting smart to it. And it's like the only thing that they might be allowed to do is the 45 RPM versions.
Well, my comment to that is they're throwing them the crumbs.
Yeah, exactly.
They're throwing them the crumbs. Now, there's certain labels that like Chad. I mean, he he's done that for a long time. That's not and now Mobile Fidelity. But I just think that that's exactly the men and the boys kind of thing. They're separating here, and the labels realize they can make some money and make some inroads.
Yep.
But woe to them if they get sloppy with it.
Yep. Exactly.
Because I think the first couple universals I've heard weren't outstanding.
Yeah.
The vinyl file or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah. My copy of Nat King Cole was good.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. This one was an interesting choice because everyone knows this was not a great sounding record to begin with anyway.
Right.
But I really, I don't have a pressing of this. I mean, I've had it on CD for the longest time. I went with it, but I don't have anything to compare it to.
Yeah. They were pressing those at RTI when I did my interviews there, and Universal was coming in the next day to do videos on the series, for their introduction and that. So, how were the pressings themselves? Okay.
No, they were great.
Okay.
I mean, RTI is just fantastic. I still think they're head and shoulders above a lot of the pressing plants, and so the pressings were good for me.
Do you have a record cleaning method or a machine or any of that?
Yes. So this some of that might be a obsessive compulsive. I should probably do an end-to-end video at some point in time, but whenever
you call Kermis to come into your house to clean them, is that what you do?
No, I don't go through his entire method. I do anything that comes in, whether it be new or used, I ultrasonically clean. The problem with the ultrasonic cleaners is as soon as you stop, you have debris and detriment that it will settle back on the record surface. So after I've ultrasonically cleaned, I do a 2-time distilled water rinse on a VPI record cleaning machine just to get any remaining debris off. And really, it's been fantastic with brand new pressings. 99% of them are pop and tick free for me.
Cool. What kind of ultrasound is it? Ultrasonic, I mean.
It is so it's the Kirmus. I bought one of the OG ones. Ooh. With the silly rabbit on the side. I don't know why he did that, but
he wanted them to reproduce as quickly as possible.
Yeah. I like it because I can do two 12-inch records at one shot. I can do 10-inch because I have 10 inches, and I can do the occasional 7-inch. Whereas if you get and I've used a degritter, I've seen the Claudio system. They're great. They're all in one, but to do a 10-inch and a 7-inch, you got to buy the adapter. Sometimes when it's doing its drying, I honestly think so. Vinyl in itself inherently will attract static, and I've seen records that they've put on the machine from a degritter, and it just sounds staticky.
And that's a $3,600 machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, Novice Nick isn't a novice about this. He's a humming guru, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I've had mine through, I don't know, probably 5,000 cycles.
Okay.
And and I like it. On used dirty albums, I'll use a Okinoki prior. Yep. And I'll scrub it with a goat hair brush, and you can get pretty rough with that brush and cleaning the records. They'll take some good hard work without damaging anything. It's just goat's hair and chemicals.
You're just as anal retentive as I am.
Oh, absolutely. Because then you have to after the chemicals, you got to distill water rinse with a separate brush, of course.
I can't see viewer comments, but what I do is more excessive.
Well, then when I'm done with that, then it goes to the humming guru. Yep.
There you go.
Now, that's where you have to determine, is this record worth the effort?
Yep.
Because it might have been a very reasonably priced record, but after playing it on your test record player, because you don't put it on the good one with the good cart when it's used. Yeah, I'm feeling you, Paul.
Well, I love the comment there. I scrubbed mine on a goat.
My goat.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
you go, man.
You guys are very anal retentive. Yeah, and I get
it. We have a mixed bag, a wonderful gallery. We really do.
Well, but what are the first 4 letters of analog? Come on, guys.
Absolutely. Could y'all give us a tap and show some love for us? We'd really appreciate it.
Thumbs up. Yeah. So you clean them, you scrub them. That's good. So I've heard. What do you find? Let me ask you. What do you find? Like new records, you find debris. I'm assuming when you do clean them.
So if you go to my Instagram, I've done reels where I've shown the bottom of a tank, showing after just cleaning 12 records. I do a dozen in one go, and you can see all the debris and grime from brand new AP analog production and RTI records.
Yeah, any new records, I'll end up with a pile of the black material in the filter and in the bottom. Absolutely, that's why you're watching them.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, the pressing plant isn't exactly a sanitary area.
No, it's not a clean room.
No, but there are there are different plants that have different equipment
Getting,
and methods, and
Yep.
Paramount, Fidelity, these newer ones.
yeah,
What comes out of there is much cleaner than what comes out of
yeah,
RTI and QRP.
Right. Oh, wow.
And that's because RTI and QRP are open air environments. They're
right,
older equipment, and the nature of the environment is more hostile.
Yep.
There's no doubt to
yes,
that.
Yep.
That's just the way it is. So, but the cleaning, yeah, is necessary, and that's using older equipment in those open air environments. That's just going to be part of the situation. There's no way around that. Not everybody has the luxury of starting up a new pressing plant.
No, and I mean, I got to tell some of the viewers out there, I'm like, you do not have to go to this length of effort.
so,
I mean,
yeah,
I started out with a spin clean, and I mean,
guilty.
That's what I still use.
a spin clean works great.
Yeah, it does.
I think they're a little bit overpriced for what they are. I don't recommend the brush and taking fluid, and because you're just pushing the dirt back into the grooves. But I think, yeah, starting out with something as cheap as a spin clean works great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have two versions. They have a version with a pad and a version with a bristle. That's so they're kind of different.
Yeah.
So, but so what other rants can we get on, Paul? What do you say?
So, yeah, let's see. So I did the MoFi thing, but just another example is the Stooges. I mean, this is the Rhino Hi-Fi, and then like again 2 weeks later, what they MoFi does that. Even the Definitive Sound series.
Oh, you got your Lionel Richie? No, just kidding.
So okay. So I mentioned the Nat King Cole.
Thank you very much.
This was a great and interesting choice. I have a few of these now.
Tell us what you're holding up.
This is Beck's Morning Phase. This is a nice psych acoustic album. I prefer his album Sea Change, but this is kind of a nice follow up. But again, the vinyl, the Lionel Richie was a bit of a surprise. I don't think that when you find those records in the dollar bin everywhere. Don't get me wrong, I like Lionel Richie. I actually like that record, but I don't know if it's worth $100.
Yeah.
So the Nat King Cole version of this, that was my biggest rant. It's like the Mariah Carey. Nobody needs $100. Nobody needs a $15 Mariah Carey album for that matter.
Yeah, every Christmas she gets a $3 million check for that album being played.
For the royalties.
Yep.
That's probably my big rant is just I wish there would be a little more variety. I do applaud the MoFis for doing the Harry Chapin. I do like the venturing out more into the 90s now because I was someone that was in college in the 90s, and that all the music from that era or decade was on my playlist. So I'm always happy to get an audiophile pressing, but I've noticed that there's a little bit of a reluctance. Like Chad Kassem, I like some of what Chad is doing, but he doesn't like to dip his toes there.
No, he's opened up more. I think, honestly, the Atlantic 45 really woke him up, like Genesis selling so well, and Phil Collins and some other stuff, 21 Stone Pilots or whatever they are. I mean, I think some of those things he's now looking much more widely, I'd say, at what he does. But he also has a kind of an ain't broke, don't fix it kind of
and
dance with a gal, you brought, right?
Yeah, I would say as a person that is into jazz, and Dave, I know you're not into jazz. I think the jazz market is being treated well. I think you can get whatever record you want now. I mean, we've gone through all of the These are well-worn horses here. I mean, you could find these pretty easily.
Great album.
I think the rock market, it's a little bit underserved. I think, again, the Definitive Sound series, again, I applaud them for doing this one. I mean,
which one
REM, I think, is a little bit underserved.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the branching out is a really good thing, because there are those who felt like they haven't been, served in this whole audiophile whirlwind, that has gone on. And I'm thinking maybe Chad and them did a survey and found out that jazz people live longer than rock people, so they figured they'd.
I don't know that in the early jazz days when they were creating it, there was some. They could rival any rock band. They could party.
With jazz, is a lot of it has been recorded so well to begin with anyway.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't take a whole lot of effort to make it shine. And I mean, there's a lot of great labels coming out of Europe now. Here's Sam Records. This is Donald Byrd. And they, I want to see more of this from European labels, because they're putting out product that is on par with what we're getting in the States now. But a lot of the jazz stuff is so well recorded that, I mean, it just is a natural thing for the audiophiles. We were talking about this one yesterday as a lead up to this video, but this is the Art Blakey. So this is the one that you have, Nick.
Okay.
But this is the one that I ordered 2 months ago, and it finally hit my door. So these are basically the same. Yeah.
Hello.
There you go. Man down.
Man overboard.
Yeah. So these are the same recordings, but the mastering engineer is different. So this was mastered by Kevin Gray. And this was mastered by Andre Pira out of France.
Right.
So I haven't done a direct compare, so I can't tell you what it is between the two. But if they're going to Kevin Gray, there's something to be said about it.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing about that.
Yes. Are we going to hear about that, Paul?
Yeah. And what's interesting is I ordered a couple more. So there's a Thelonious Monk. There was also a brand new John Coltrane where he's playing in Helsinki. These are live albums, and they sound fantastic.
Yeah.
And maybe if I get enough of a sample to compare, I'd love to do a YouTube video on it so people can hear it for themselves. Hey, is this really worth my time? And if I could save somebody a little bit of coin, sure, I'll do it.
Sure.
I've been eyeballing the Oscar Peterson. Oscar's awesome.
Yeah, no, he is. I do not have that one. Except these again, just funding and cost. This is this is a premium product, and so the interesting thing about this too is until we started talking about it yesterday, this is a product of France, and I do order a lot of records from France. I do love French music, but as soon as the tariffs started to kick in, France said, nope, we are done. At least the French Postal Service said, nope, we are done. We're not even going to deal with it. So I can't get records from bands from France anymore. I was amazed that this got to my door because
out of Germany.
No, it was from France.
Well, I know, but maybe you can source it through Germany.
No, somehow I got it, but I ordered the Thelonious Monk one on the same day, and I'm still waiting for it. And it's been over 8 weeks.
Wow. Did MPO press that, or who pressed it?
No, I cannot figure out who pressed it. I think it's an Italian pressing plant, but I can't recognize the matrix at all.
It's not DAGO Records, is it?
I think they had Optimal do the Optimal did the plating, and Optimal did the plating for this one.
Yeah,
and they do say that in the liner notes.
Oh,
But
good.
they don't say that optimal pressed it, and it doesn't have an optimal pressing matrix,
Right.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
I would be curious to, so, in my conversation with Kevin Gray, and Kevin Gray cannot, I mean, he doesn't want to get on the bad side of labels, but sometimes he does not get the original masters. He will get a digital copy, and that particular label will say, "Hey, it's all analog," and it's not.
Yeah.
Well,
And off the side, he has told me that, yeah, some of the labels will play tricks like that. So unfortunately, I didn't pull it, but I have a Japanese jazz pressing, which they claim is all analog Blue Note from the master tapes. And I talked to Kevin about that, and he said, no, that came from the Japanese master, which they gave him a digital file of. Yeah.
Did you tell him to reference MoFi scandal? No.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my goodness. That's
Wild can of worms there.
Yeah.
Johnny L has joined. Hey Johnny, how you doing out there? I saw Concert Buddy was up here earlier. He was saying, the early 2000s are pretty unrepresented, and I think that's right.
No, that's definitely true.
92 to 05.
Yep.
Money to be made.
Yep.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. And some of these things, it isn't always at all the label or the third party like Chad not wanting to get something. It's being able to get it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of things. I know of one situation where they got everything agreed to down to the wire, and then at the last minute, the band said, "Nah."
Yeah. No, I can see that. And the interesting one for me has been Sony. Sony, I'm just surprised that Sony has not gotten in the game yet. And all of their tapes are they are tied up. They do not like to let those guys out.
Nope.
Well, they're Mobile Fidelity has a unique relationship with them because of DSD, because they were testing. They were a beta site for DSD back in the early 2000s, and so they've been I want to say in concert with them. I almost said in bed with them, but in concert with them for a long time. And a lot of titles they get are Sony titles.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that MoFi hasn't really gone out and done more. Like ELO, for example, they've only done one title from ELO.
Yeah,
right.
And there's something there, guys. Go after ELO. Go after Boston. Go after
right.
Yeah, there's definitely. Got to make choices. They got to, you can only do so much at once. And some of these things, go ahead.
I was just going to say we have a request from the gallery. I personally haven't had many problems, but on seam splits.
Oh,
yeah. Have you had problems with seam splits, Paul?
Yeah.
That's a rant of yours.
Oh yeah, I will say I am not the type of person that will send things back necessarily. I don't like seam splits. I get very annoyed when I get them, especially when you're on boutique pressing. So like my AP45s for the Atlantic series thankfully have come through with no seam splits at all. But I will say that I like Music Matters originally. Some of my Music Matters have seam splits, and just trying to source another copy is very, very difficult.
Yeah. You will get almost no more seam splits from MoFi for one reason, and that is that Fidelity has a very unique rounding edge process on the record.
Yep.
And so there's really nothing there to really cut into it like it used to be in the old days.
I will tell you, my biggest struggle was the records that I get from overseas. So I do a lot of record shopping with a company in Britain called Juno, and just by virtue of how their jackets are made in the UK and Europe, and then doing the transatlantic shipping, I will say probably 1 out of every 10 records I get has a seam split.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I've only had one case. It was a second party that Steam Split came in and must have been done at the factory. And I called them up, well, text them, emailed. I'll get it straight here. I emailed them, and all three albums had Steam Splits. And within 2 weeks' time, I had them all replaced. That was amused to death. Yeah, I was, happily surprised that it was done quickly and efficiently. I don't know why, more companies can't do it in that fashion. Sometimes it takes forever to get anything done, or even to be able to communicate with the company. But I was very pleased.
Did you tell them you weren't amused to death?
I told them I was not amused.
That's appropriate title, Nick.
Yeah, but it was a good experience, out of a bad one, which
Sure.
was great.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you say, Paul, as far as 2025 goes, as far as what you think maybe were some of the most interesting things you heard or were surprised by?
Yeah. So again, it's been an interesting year. I mean, Capital getting into the audiophile game with the vinyl file, and again, MoFi making some of their ridiculous decisions. But I am encouraged by the fact that more players are getting into the audiophile game. It's just more choice for the consumer, which is good. But I am a little bit concerned about tariffs in the long run, playing into just upping the overall cost of the vinyl. I mean, the PVC
Everything
is sourced from Thailand, a lot of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got an expense there. The lacquers are coming from Japan. And I mean, those costs are just going to get translated over to us, the consumer. And just overall for the market, I am concerned about the pricing and pricing a lot of people out. And I don't think vinyl should be that way. I mean, I don't see a lot of people buying $100 records to begin with anyway. But I mean, I'd say $40. That is a nice sweet spot, and I think that entices new people to get in the hobby, and that's really what I would like to see.
I'd say that's at the top of the. It's still at the 40 is still at the top of the sweet spot.
Yeah.
If it's just a standard issue, if it's got some tchotchkes, as they say, or whatever, Stoughton jackets, okay, I can see.
But I mean, like I am a member of the Tone Poet club, and I will say Tone Poet, they do it right. I mean, this is not the best example, but I mean, Tone Poet, Stoughton jacket, 180 gram, done at at Fidelity or RTI now, but
which album is that? I can't make out.
I mean, you do not have to be a member, which I think is a good thing. I don't. Not everybody's into jazz, but they may want to buy one or two titles. I think that's the way it should be. I think if you're a member, you get an extra perk. I mean, there are a few not heavy hitting records that you can get, which I like to have that option. But I also want, with a club, it's like I don't want to force people to buy every single record. I'd rather buy one or two. And if you want to buy all of them, then join the club. I think that's really how a club should be run, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, you get a free pass to the VMP club for there. Is that what you get?
Yeah,
that's it.
I think VMP led to their own demise. I mean, VMP did not do things smartly. I will hand it to them. They did some very, very interesting and great titles. But I think having to buy into the essentials, and then most people just did not. I couldn't get into every single record that they were putting in the essentials, and that was the only way to get like other series.
Right.
And even I did the classic series, which was a mix of soul and jazz, blues, and salsa.
Salsa.
Yes,
What kind of chips
have
you go with that?
salsa. In fact, I have a couple of salsa records, but I do not want every single salsa record out there.
Right, right.
You can only do so much of that dancing, you know. That's
Yeah.
just
Variety is the spice of life.
But I think I wish Vinyl Me Please would have like paid attention to what sold and what didn't sell. I honestly think if they did like a good classic rock suite of titles, and they did it like Tone Poet does now, where people can buy individual albums, they don't have to sign up for the club. But if you're a part of the club, you get additional perks. You can get exclusive albums.
Makes sense.
I think Tone Poet kind of set the standard for how I'd like to see a club done. And unfortunately, I know Vinyl Me Please got bought by another group, but I think they're screwing things up, and I just do not see it taking off.
Oh yeah, it's almost gone from bad to worse.
And I mean, the record that they started out with, I love the artist, Jelly Haha. I think she is probably one of my top new artists for 2025, but not everybody is into brand new music. And if you look at the cover of her album, she is just so off the map that it's not going to be an enticement to buy into the club. So as much as I love her, that is not going to sell people on the club.
Right.
Yeah, I'm still trying to catch up with the music of past. You know, trying to catch up with some of that.
You got to go in both directions. So dig into the past, into the future.
Well, that's where you start off with your DAC and your streamer. Yep. And if it floats your boat, then you move on.
Exactly.
You know, to vinyl. But that's one of the joys of you'll pick an album to play, and then you'll make sure it says radio afterwards, so then it'll find similar music.
Right.
And I found a lot of great music, that way. Just
that is one of the benefits of streaming, is just the discovery of new things.
Absolutely.
Clubs are for cavemen. Yeah,
and golfers. Don't forget us golfers.
Yeah, right. There's a Fred Flintstone out there somewhere. That's for sure.
Well,
yeah, exactly. So 2026, what do you see coming down the pike? Anything you're looking forward to specifically beyond the
January 1st?
Lionel Richie, for sure.
Lionel Richie. Okay. Hello.
Yeah, so I will say I have not given the album a proper listen, but I did, out of curiosity, I did order the Harry Chapin Super Audio CD. I mean, that's a case where I'd rather dip my toes in a CD format before I go to the vinyl to make sure that I'm going to go there. I know he's well regarded, and I'm willing to give it a try. Like Joni Mitchell was one I could never get into. I'm not a fan of Blue, but I did try some of her other albums through Super Audio CD, and I'm starting to get into her a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's just, so you mean from an artist perspective?
From an artist perspective,
okay.
I do foresee Rhino Hi-Fi doing more Black Sabbath, which I'm looking forward to. I am a Black Sabbath fan. I am happy that they did the second Devo album. I can foresee them doing another Cars album, which makes me happy. I would like to see
Heartbeat
more
City.
80s new wave out of them. Maybe I'd like to see some Depeche Mode, maybe.
Okay.
So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
The NXS Kick was very good I think it was Lo-Fi's version, right?
Yeah, no, it was fantastic.
Very, yeah. How about blues? Any?
Blues is one that I am curious. So I did get the Chess 75. I bought all 6 of them. I am hoping that. So it's funny because I had a side conversation with Chad. He and I have never talked directly, but we've corresponded on email before. I asked him to do Chess, and he was complaining about getting the tapes. I am happy he got some of the tapes. I'm okay with a copy. I mean, one of the future videos I would like to do is like thank God for Japan, because Japan has copies of a lot of these tapes.
Right.
It's not an OG copy, but if you can't source the original, I'm okay with a one generation down copy of a tape.
Absolutely. It'd be a needle drop all day long.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would like to see more Muddy Waters for sure. I love John Lee Hooker.
Yeah.
Somebody asked this question. I don't have an answer. Blind Pig Records.
Yeah, that's another. I honestly think that their back catalog is worth doing a decent pressing, because Blind Pig has a lot of artists that I think really should get more daylight.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was asking, I think, or she was asking what pressing plants they're using now and the stuff they do release. I would just tell you to reference Discogs on that. I don't know what they're using for any of the things that have been released in their catalog. Not as familiar with that label. But the thing that's, interesting, Paul, when you look at it, I was looking at costs for record reproduction and mastering and that, and it's expensive, but it wasn't nearly as outrageous as I thought it was.
Yep.
Honestly.
Yeah, it's not super bad. I mean, it depends on who you use, and of course the pressing plants. But yeah, I know. So the last thing, just kind of a little bit of a plug, but we talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
But I know that Chad likely has the Bernie Brenman Masters.
He has the hardware
of these, and I know the band probably won't let them put that out, but
yeah.
I.e. Jimmy Page. Hello.
Yeah.
Wake up, Jimmy.
Yeah, but I am trying to do a sound comparison of 13 different pressings. I am curious just about Japanese pressings in general, because Japanese pressings have never really impressed me. So this version here that came out in the 90s, people have extolled the sonic qualities of this one, this whole series. So I am curious how it compares to an original UK press. I would like to revisit my Led Zeppelin 2 video. So I did a Led Zeppelin 2 sound comparison a long time ago, but I've collected more pressings of it, so I'd like to compare that.
Of course you did.
But yeah, I do have the Classic Records 45 RPM cut on Clarity for both of those albums, and I do think that would be fun to let people listen to. I mean, was it worth the money? But yeah, I do hope that those albums will see the light of day in a repressing in some form or fashion someday. It may not. It may be after Jimmy Page leaves us. Hopefully not for a while. But I just do not see Jimmy Page ever letting a 45 RPM version
That's
of that
shame.
out.
Yeah, there's somebody at plugging your video.
No, thank you, Nick.
Yeah, Mr. Fantazzi, thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's a case where you definitely you can hear the difference between the Robert Ludwig cut and then the recut that Ahmet Erdogan, the president of Atlantic Records, drove the recut, which is just awful.
Yeah, I did. I actually took my RL, digitized it. I played it in my previous vehicle, and I blew the center speaker.
Wow.
and it was flat. I didn't have anything turned up.
And so I will tell you, the original U.S. press of this is, again, it's my opinion, and all of these things are very subjective. So when I get around to my video, I will tell you the original U.S. press, it did not knock off my socks. There was a recut by George Piros, which is far better than the original pressing of Led Zeppelin 1.
Well, nobody expected Led Zeppelin to be who Led Zeppelin became.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we all have to put some time perspective in
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Like, oh shit,
Yeah.
we could do better than that. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So that's excellent. That's really good. Good to hear. We look forward to that video for sure. That's yeah. We'll have to next time I'm in Houston. I need to. We need to do some listening sessions together, Paul.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'd be happy to have you over, and you can see my redone outfit,
Cool.
which is something I need to do a video on. And like, I have brand new speakers. I have a brand new Macintosh amplifier. So yeah, it'd be fun to get your thoughts on it.
Great. You know, whenever somebody says Macintosh, I always wonder if they're going to say Apple or audio. I just in case, you know, just
Yeah.
I'm always on the edge of my seat. What are they really
Yeah.
going to say? So I heard the new, is it a 5500 Mac is a really nice unit that brings new technology in. And I've read some really good things on that one.
Yeah, and I mean, Macintosh is a love-hate thing for audiophiles. There are some people that just absolutely hate them, and okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to try one, and I've been relatively pleased with the one I picked up.
What year genre is it when it was made?
So it's brand new. I think
brand
they
new, okay.
started production in maybe 2020.
Okay. All right.
And I mean, it's not a tube amp. It is solid state, but
okay.
I mean, it's great.
Well, like the two brands with the biggest love-hate are probably Bose and Mac, and then Bose buys Mac. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
God.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would say that, you know, there's just been this consolidation. My original speakers were Golden Ear, and they got bought out just recently. And I blew, and this is something I probably want to talk about in a video, but the problem with the Golden Ears is that they have powered subwoofers, and one of the internal amps went out. And I called the company, and they would sell you parts, but unfortunately they got bought out by somebody else. And eventually I did get a spare amp. I just haven't installed it in those speakers yet.
Mm-hmm.
But once I get it installed, I'll probably be selling them.
Yeah, well, at least you were able to get the amp.
Yeah.
I had experience with a company, Paradigm, Canada.
Yep.
And I thought I had a center channel go out. The last production of the Studio 100's version 5 was probably 9 years ago, and was the last ones.
Yeah.
And I texted them, and they said, well, you know, we don't have any of the speakers, but we'd be glad to rebuild yours. And I was pleasantly, very happily surprised that they would even offer, of course, at a cost, but who cares at that point? You know, it's one driver and in a speaker that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers in it. So no sense of, so that was awfully kind. Fortunately, it wasn't the driver that was shot. So, but the offer there was great praise for Paradigm. That's for sure.
So here's the question everybody wants to know, Paul.
Yes, that was my next.
So, well, first of all, thank you, Mr. Rollhouse. I saw your very first comment. I do appreciate your support on my health and what I've been going through. But yeah, unfortunately, I cannot comment. I would get in big trouble if I comment on anything NASA related.
But he can say they're out of this world.
We were talking about speakers.
They're definitely out of this world.
Yes, they are out of this world. Although, you know, there's been a variety that have been flown to the station for astronaut personal use. I mean,
there you go.
A lot of Apple products have flown to station because when the astronauts are off duty, I mean, they're listening to music like everybody else.
See,
but
I
the thing
thought you
is
were
that
talking.
the station is just so damn noisy.
Ah,
It sounds like a workshop because you got
Yeah,
all this equipment running in the background. And I
yeah.
will tell you, on the weekends they do have a pull-out movie screen, and they have a little projector, and so all the crew members will gather in
Oh,
node
nice.
one, which is kind of central to the station, and they all kind of have a movie night together.
so
Awesome.
do OSHA noise statutes apply in outer space?
Yes, they do. We
I,
do. We do acoustic measurements,
I bet.
and I will tell you there are violations in the Russian half, but we cannot dictate what
Yeah.
goes on their side of the station.
They're just partying all the time. I know. It's just, who brought the vodka? We got some more vodka.
Exactly.
It's,
I thought when you were talking about NASA and saying that you couldn't talk about it. I thought you were talking about the speakers you just got.
Oh, no,
You haven't announced what they are. Will you
no.
be able to tell us what they are?
Oh, what speakers I have now? They're Revels
Oh, oh,
F228BEs.
okay. Not
Okay.
familiar with them.
Not
Tell us
either.
about them.
So they're floor standers. They have beryllium tweeters. So it's something I would like to do a video on just purchasing speakers when you don't actually get to listen to them.
Yeah.
And you can only take like Stereophile, Absolute Sound. I take their reviews with a little bit of a grain of salt. And
Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect to Ken McAuliffe or Frimmer, but I love Ken McAuliffe. But they make their money from the advertising.
Right.
And
I've
really, I look for, when I buy a speaker, I'm looking for correlation from multiple parties. Like,
yeah.
and I mean, these were well reviewed, and I had talked to people outside and gotten their opinion, and everybody had just extolled the virtues of it. And Stereophile had them as an A-class component, and they've been, occasionally they will go on discount, and I purchased them through Crutchfield, and Crutchfield has an interesting app where you can listen to different speakers, and I do like Crutchfield for that regard. And I bought them through Crutchfield, and I mean they're the size of two fridges, and I put my order in, and they came 2 days later.
Oh my goodness!
Via truck. I was just amazed. Yeah,
Crutchfield is an amazing company to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we look forward to that video as well.
Yeah.
I'll bet
okay,
on
we're
that.
just loading you up with work. Well,
yeah, that's my problem. Is I got a lot of good ideas for video content. It's just finding the time to edit and
our precious commodity.
Yeah, with my work schedule now, and then my wife being in the same room doing a lot of her work, I just do not have the same time to make videos like I used to.
Yeah. I get that.
I get it. Well, Paul, you can stay with us. We have a thing we do toward the end of the show. We play a little thing called Name That Tune.
Okay.
And let me get Nick out of there. Hello, Nick. There we go. Name that tune. So we have some people who are you got to get to 5 points, and you can earn 2 points per show. So we have one person at 4 points, Wyoming Dave. Right, Nick?
That is correct.
And cranberry sauce. Is it 3? Is it 3?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so both of them can cross the 5 threshold, get to 5 or cross it. And then I will contact them for a free LP. And I've even got a few of them that I brought out that could be contenders.
Can I do a public service announcement?
You can.
Real quick. Folks, please hit the thumbs up. You all know how it works. The thumbs up, viewing now and viewing later. And when it gets to 50, expands to a larger crowd. And we'd appreciate it. We're still, third week here, and we're trying to grow it. Hopefully you're having fun, a good time, and maybe we'll have a winner here. So
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, and don't subscribe to me. Subscribe to these two. I don't need any more. I'm not worth your time.
Subscribe to
Well,
mine.
it's too late. I've subbed.
So I'll be some of the choices will be some OG records that are sealed, and here's one of them, Don Henley.
Yeah,
I happened to just pull a couple out, and they both were Don Henley's, but both stellar albums of Don Henley. So these are sealed. Indeed. I've got about 8 more albums that are sealed that are OGs. So once you win, I'll contact you, and then next show we'll show what you chose. So let's get it going. You guys know the riff. I'll just play a little bit of the song, and then we'll see if someone can get it right in the comments. Nick is the referee here, so he will tell us. So here we go.
That's it. What do we have, folks?
Anybody want to take a shot at it?
Thunder and Lightning.
That is correct. Shy Coltrane.
Cranberry sauce out of the gate. All right.
Very good.
That was good.
There you go.
You got to turn up the volume on your device.
I do.
No, me? Not you. Lee Page. He said he didn't hear anything.
Oh, I can't.
I think there was 4 notes in that song.
Yeah.
Played.
Okay. There weren't many. Okay. This thing is stuck again. Okay. I've got, okay. This one's going to be a little tougher. This one's definitely going to be tough because you're getting to 5. So.
Now, let's see. Street Life.
Nope.
Swing and a miss. Rick V. Spinner. Anybody else? Do we need 3 more notes? Hey, it doesn't hurt to try.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't hurt
Absolutely. To try. Nope.
Dave, you're digging deep, man.
Yeah, this one's this one's tricky. I admit it.
Yeah.
This one's.
We might need to put that on the shelf and try. What do you think? Donna Summers is a guess of a name.
No, it isn't Donna Summers.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
Who's it sound like? Tell me who you think it sounds like. Musically.
No idea. It looks like, well, let's see. We got, sounds like Rupert Holmes.
The Pina Colada song guy.
Eddie Rabbit.
Which was actually, the song was called Escape. And then in parentheses, the Pina Colada song. So it isn't Eddie Rabbit and it isn't Rupert Holmes.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to
put
that one in the back room.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's bring out another.
Here comes a new one. Wyoming Dave stumped, so I'm doing good.
Yes.
Yeah, you thought I was just going to give those albums away. No.
Week 1 and 2 was too easy.
This one should be. This one's more recent for sure.
No, it's not. Hey, what's up, gentlemen? How you doing, Ed?
That was a good guess.
To see you. Yes, David is making us work. That's right.
Yeah, making you work for it.
Tap that like button as you come in, please.
Yeah, even if you don't mean it.
Yeah.
All right, I thought someone would get this one's a little tough, but not awful.
No.
Let me play just a hair more.
Here you go. That should have given it away.
I know if my buddy Brad was on here, he'd know what it is, but
yeah. That's why we didn't tell him about this. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Well, another swing and a miss.
Okay, we'll put that
Come
one
on,
in.
guys. You're better than this.
Okay.
You got me totally stumped.
Okay.
Okay.
Here comes the next one. Somebody's going to get this one. Come on, Davey. Yeah, Wyoming Dave. No pressure, Wyoming Dave.
Yeah. When I'm with you.
That is correct. Sheriff.
That makes
Wyoming
Dave a
He's hit
5 winner.
Okay. Yep. Wow. And we got one more to do. This is fourth one, so we got one more. So we'll see if cranberry sauce can get to it. So you're our first winner, Wyoming Dave. All right. Let's try this one.
Awesome. Absolutely is.
Yeah. Got that one? Anybody pick that one up? Let's see. Try it a little more.
An 80 tune. I know that
one. Yes, you do.
Capital City.
Comfort Buddy got it.
Oh, we got a new one in the race.
The song I use for my intro on my daily audio diet. Safe and Sound. Perfect title. It's not even Taylor Swift. Sure, you got that going for me. Oh my. Well, great. Well, thanks everybody. Dave, I'll get in touch with you about that cranberry sauce. You still have 4, so you can come in next week. Hopefully you can start the new year right and get that one off. So Paul, thanks so much for joining us tonight. It's been great to talk to you.
Appreciate you, sir.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Thank you so much for the invite again. Hopefully you'll have a better guest next time.
No, you were great. No. We have the most viewers we've had any week this week with you, so no pressure.
Absolutely.
Wow. I'm amazed.
Yeah. So there you go.
You bring the star power, Paul.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm honored.
So there we go. Well, everybody, it's the end of 2025 here in a few days. Thank you for being part of the channel. Thank you for watching and joining. Paul has some great videos. He might not want subscribers, but I think you would benefit by viewing BarakaPDub's channel. He has some really interesting videos. So take a view on those, and everybody be safe on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Don't do anything stupid. Get an Uber if you need to. It's something that you'll thank yourself for, believe me.
Yeah, it's cheap in comparison.
Yeah, cheap in comparison to the alternative. So we'll catch you again next week on Monday at 6:30 Central.
Thank you.
And everybody have a happy new year. Thanks for joining. Thanks Paul. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Take care. See you, everybody. Have a great new year.